This is the Cisco 2100 series wireless LAN controller. This little gem is designed to control multiple wireless access points on your network. Ironically, this is a Cisco ASA 5505 firewall, a radically different device but uses exactly the same form factor as some of the lower end wireless LAN controllers. You can tell Cisco was like, let's not recreate the wheel and save some dollars on design costs. That's a pretty cool looking device. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to walk through the puzzle pieces, as in the design, the equipment, the terms that Cisco uses to deploy its wireless technology. And finally, I can get into what these little devices are. They've been sitting on top of our stack this entire time. I've just been kind of ignoring them until now. These are the wireless access points that actually, in and of themselves, at least these specific models, are completely worthless because they're designed to be controlled by just that, a controller. See, in the world of wireless, these things are like rabbits. They breed. You need a bunch of them to provide the wireless access for your network environment. So it's pretty easy to configure them one by one when you're in a network of 2 wireless access points. But as your building grows and the number of clients grows, and these things go from 2 to 200, which is not uncommon in a large organization, it just becomes unimaginable to try and tune and tweak each and every one of those things. Therein lies the difference between our first major term that we have when we get into the wireless world, an autonomous wireless access point versus a lightweight wireless access point. Autonomous wireless access points are access points that are literally standalone. That is, if we converted these to an autonomous image, and a lot of times you can switch out the image on these guys, it means that they can stand alone. They have a configuration interface in themselves that I can configure them one by one with all their specific settings, what channels they use, what SSIDs they have, what security settings they have, what radius servers, I'll talk about that, they'll authenticate against. All of the individual settings one by one. But in the world of the lightweight wireless access point, they are designed to be controlled by a controller. That is, all the little wireless access points, I've got squares in my little image right here, are drones that come in and report to the controller for duty. The controller, which actually looks like a switch. I mean, if you take a look at this guy right here, it's the right one. If you flip it around, it actually has a built-in switch. You see switch ports. There's even over on this side power over Ethernet ports where I can plug them in and power it. And in a small network environment, this could be all you need. I mean, I'm talking really small. But for the most part, people will take this and connect it into their main switch infrastructure. The controller then sees the wireless access points, or I should say the lightweight wireless access points, that have no configuration, that are plugged into the network, and immediately makes them available for adoption and configuration. Now, I do one configuration on this device, and foop, it goes out to all the different devices. So you've seen now 3 terms already: autonomous, lightweight, and controller. This, and probably these first 4 all kind of go hand in hand, describes how the controllers and the lightweight access points, sorry if that's confusing, I'm saying controllers, I'm pointing to the wrong one. The controllers and the lightweight access points function. A split MAC design, hang on, let me get to the right slide here. A split MAC design means that I'll attach my controller. Let's just say I'll plug this into fast Ethernet 0 or 2/0/10, right? There's my controller. The wireless access points report in for duty to the controller saying, okay, control us, but they do one more than that. That is, any wireless device that attaches to that controller. So here's our laptop, our sad looking laptop, that attaches to that wireless access point is actually funneled through a tunnel. You heard that right, a tunnel into the controller and back out onto the network. That does mean this needs to be a high bandwidth interface capable of sending and receiving a lot of traffic. So let's just hang on, follow that again. The wireless access point attaches its client. So this is a laptop, right? It attaches there. The wireless access point funnels it through the network through a tunnel. It's actually known as a cap-wap tunnel. You might have seen that on my term list. A cap-wap tunnel hits the wireless access point, and the wireless access point is the one that actually puts it out onto the local area network from there. This is where the term split MAC comes from. The functionality, the responsibility for handling the MAC addresses in the network. That is, the wireless clients, the cell phones that attach to our wireless access point. It hits the WAP. They do some functions right there, but it actually funnels it back to the controller before it hits the wired network. Now, why? I mean, it seems like a little tedious. The reason why is because by having it on that central controller, you enable a lot of cool functionality that sometimes would be very cumbersome if the wireless access point had to do it. Let me just give one simple example. Security. You've got your device, right? It's using an encrypted connection. Where's those encrypted keys going? To the WAP, right? I'm going off the screen. To the WAP. So as you're roaming through the network, you're doing, let's just say you're doing a FaceTime call, talking like this, or FaceTime audio. That's using a data connection. Well, as you move between WAP to WAP to WAP, it would have to renegotiate those security keys. If it was an autonomous design, and that would mean whoosh, brief outage, brief outage, brief outage. Your FaceTime session is cutting out. Whereas if you centralize it, you see where I'm going, right? You centralize that encryption and those security keys on the controller. Now you can just move from WAP to WAP to WAP seamlessly because you're talking to the controller through the cap-WAP tunnel. That's the idea of the split MAC design. So you're following these terms, right? Autonomous, lightweight controller, split MAC, cap-WAP. By the way, that stands for Control and Provisioning. That's the one time "and" made its way into an acronym. Control and Provisioning of Wireless Access Points, cap-WAP. But nobody remembers that. Don't please don't go running to scramble and try and commit that to memory. Your brain is so much more valuable than remembering acronyms, okay? Remember what it does. It's the tunnel between the wireless access point and the controller that it sends all the data and all of that. That's where it comes back to what is cap-WAP, control and provisioning, right? Where it controls the wireless access point from the controller itself. Last piece of this puzzle is the interfaces. Within this controller are multiple interfaces. Most of them we'll call virtual, but they always line up to a physical port, right? So on the back of this controller, and by the way, this is an abnormality. This controller supports, I believe, 6 wireless access points. I mean, so this one box, based on its license, can control 6 wireless access points. So on the back, that's the reason it has so many switch ports, is because it's designed to maybe be an all-in-one device for a small business that's using this kind of thing. They have larger controllers, and you can just go to Cisco's website or just Google Cisco controllers 5500 series. I mean, but they'll have 3 ports, 4 ports that can support gobs, hundreds, 600, thousands of access points from a single controller. In these ports, you can configure one, a management or a service port. You can see that's the first one. This is what we use to actually manage the controller itself. It will assign an IP address and so on and so forth. But then you can actually bundle multiple ports together into a lag interface. If you haven't heard the word lag before, maybe the word ether channel is a little more familiar to you. Cisco actually dropped their own term in favor of lag. They said a link aggregation. That is where you take multiple physical ports and combine them together so that they can have a single high bandwidth interface. Why do you think that's so necessary for this? Well, it's good, because when you've got all these wireless access points using cap-WAP, sending all their data back to this guy, he becomes a quick bottleneck if we're only using a few interfaces. So we'll typically take him and go click, 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 set up an ether channel or lag port for the distribution network. That is all the production traffic coming to and from this device. You've now seen the puzzle pieces, that is the design, the equipment, and the terms Cisco uses to deploy its wireless technology. In the next video, let's actually get this guy plugged in and start building it from scratch. For now, I hope this has been informative for you and I'd like to thank you for viewing.